Okay, I'm going to talk to you today about a Bally game from the later part of the 60s called The Wiggler. This is actually the first game I ever picked up, and so I have a fondness for it just for that reason. But actually it's a pretty cool game in its own right. It's a Ted Zale design and a Jerry Kelly artwork, and it's actually got some really cool features and artwork to it. As you can see, there's a kind of a rock thing happening in space. And a lot of the games from the latter part of the 60s have the space theme going on because of the Apollo program and landing on the moon, that sort of thing. So it was a popular theme, and I actually got a chance to meet Jerry Kelly at Expo back in the mid-90s and asked him how they came up with the name of the game and the theme. And he says, well, at that time they were really just kind of trying to get games out the door, and so somebody was shooting ideas out. They came up with this, and he threw some artwork together, and kind of that was the end of it. So there's really no kind of particular inspiration behind it. They were just kind of looking to get things moving. And that's not unusual for pinball games, but interesting kind of thing to understand how things worked back then. They made about 3,400 of these, which is actually not a bad run at all for a Bally game in the 60s. And that may be due to a couple things. It's got some pretty neat features on it. They kind of packed a lot into this one. And you have to remember that at this time, Gottlieb was still king of pinball. And Bally was definitely second or maybe even third cousin to Gottlieb and Williams. So they were still kind of working their way through, and pinball wasn't a huge thing for them. They made a lot of bingo games. But they were starting to come around to pinball, and of course, in the 70s they really came on strong and kind of took the lead. But anyway, this game has a multi-ball feature. It has 3-ball multi-ball. It also has zipper flippers, and it's got some unusual design elements. Most games you kind of took the glass out to service the game if you had to get to the playfield. On this game, the entire glass and chrome trim around it actually lifts up and locks into place on the top. I'm not going to pull it up for you, but it's kind of a different feature for the time. So they're actually doing some engineering things as well. And one of the other kind of unusual things that they had put into some of these late Bally games from the 60s is you had your traditional score to get replays, but they'd also put a feature in there. And this came with a feature called the Wiggle Jet Super Bonus. So every time you released a ball that was trapped, you got a Wiggle Jet Super Bonus. And if you scored 6 of those Wiggle Jet Super Bonuses in the game, you got a replay. So just kind of a little additional feature that they were using to kind of attract people to play the game. As you can see, it's got a traditional layout, not quite one of Ted's more crazy designs, but it does have some unusual things to it. The basic scoring idea is to try to light that center lane for 200 by hitting one of those little pops on the left, or not pops, but the rebounds on the left or the right. And that'll light the center for 200, and you can actually pop that back up through there through that center bumper if you're lucky and skillful. That center blue mushroom bumper will release the balls and also will close the zipper flippers. And the yellow mushroom bumpers on either side will score 100, and they'll also advance the Wiggle Alley, just up here on the left. And as you can see, that will, as you hit it and advance the Wiggle Alley, that'll light for 100, 100, 100, and 200. So if you get that up to the maximum of 500 and score that, that can be a significant amount of points in this game. The replay on this game is set for 3,200, which is fairly fair for a 5-ball game, and it's actually fairly difficult to get. And it's got some really wide outlanes. In this one, you do have the opportunity to open the gate up there to return the ball to the plunger with the little button there on the right hand side, but doesn't always work out for you, and the outlanes can really suck balls down, as we'll see when we go through the gameplay. So that's the playfield, and that's the art. We'll take one more kind of look through here to give you a nice look at it. And take a look at the front here. And the side cabinet artwork, which is pretty generic, not a whole lot to it there. And that's how the game looks. So, without further ado, let's see how it plays. Alright, let's fire it up. As you can see, you can get some pretty quick ball times. Alright, so we trapped a second ball there. Now let's see if we can release it. That was different. Alright, well that's a little bit of play in the game. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you enjoyed taking a look at the artwork. Jerry Kelly really is an underrated artist, credited with having been the first to kind of invent the pointing people artwork, as it's known in the pinball community. So, really was an innovator, and a good guy too. I do wish I'd been able to talk with him a little bit more. He passed away, I think, a year after I talked to him at Expo. But anyway, that's Bally Wiggler. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at it, and we'll see you again next time.